In this video, we're going to talk about what books to spec on for 2021 before it's too late. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. Happy New Year. Thank God we are now in 2021. And I'm sure you guys are thinking the same as me, which is I hope that this year is a lot better than the one that we just had. So bring it on. I'm ready for 2021. It's going to be a great year, hopefully for the world at large, but also it's going to be a great year because we got a lot of MCU stuff coming out. And as a result, there's a lot of spec books. So for this video, I wanted to do sort of that last minute, what books to invest in before we get all of the good stuff that we're going to get in the MCU. But before I can get into what books to invest in, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying my content. We really appreciate if you did one of those things. Love interacting with you guys. Send me a comment. Love having this discussion, and let's keep it going. All right. So with that being said, let's get into this and let's talk about what are the books to invest in for 2021 before it's too late. Now, we have a lot of stuff coming out in the MCU, and what I did is I picked a few books pertaining to each property that's coming out, whether it's a Disney Plus show or a movie. And I just want to talk a little bit about why these books are important and where the speculation is coming from. Now, some of this stuff is definitely concrete, meaning we know for a fact that these characters are going to appear in the movies, and some of it is still pretty speculative, but rooted in rumors and theories that have some weight to them. So I think that they're not necessarily safe. No speculation is safe, but there's good there's a good foundation to think that we might get some of this stuff. So I just kind of wanted to take some of the spec stuff that's out there and talk to you guys about it. And ultimately it's best if you get your hands on this if you want it before any of the trailers drop for any of these properties, because once the trailers drop and once the cat's out of the bag with these things, that's when the books really skyrocket. So let's get into each property here and talk about some of the spec books that could relate to them. All right. So first up, we have coming out in January, 2 weeks from now, actually can't wait, is going to be WandaVision, right? WandaVision, Scarlet Witch, and the Vision, going to be an awesome show. Really looking forward to this. And I have two books here that I want to look at with you guys. The first one here is going to be Fantastic Four number 94. And what is the significance of this book? This is the first appearance of a character known as Agatha Harkness. Now, it is speculated that, from the trailers, we've seen Agatha Harkness, and this is played by the actress in it, who's, of course, her name escaped me at the moment, but she's a terrific actress, and she's in the trailer. She's been in The Private Life, and she's been in Bad Moms and things like that. And it's rumored that her character is going to be Agatha Harkness, but it hasn't been fully confirmed that that's the case yet. But as far as this book, it looks like this is the character that she is playing, which is like a witch character, has a lot of dealings with the underworld and that sort of thing. And this is her first appearance. So if you are somebody that wants to sort of spec on this one, this is a good one to pick up. I think I've seen it in the wild twice, and there's some good deals to be had with it. So definitely an interesting one to pick up. All right, moving on now, we're going to take a look at Silver Surfer number 3. And yes, again, this one is a lot of speculation, a lot of rumor, but I do believe that we are going to get Mephisto in the MCU, and I do believe that we're going to see the first signs of Mephisto within context to WandaVision, and later on it's going to lead into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And as far as spec is concerned, I think that this book is a really good one to get, and it's definitely been heating up. So I would definitely, before WandaVision comes out, before there's even any ounce of confirmation or any ounce of a hint of him appearing in the show, I definitely would get my hands on this book before we reveal him within context of the WandaVision season. All right, moving on now. What do we have next? We have Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All right. So I picked out one particular character that I think is interesting as far as a spec book is considered to be, and that's going to be Captain America 323. Now, what is the significance of this? This is the first appearance of a character known as John Walker, and John Walker later becomes the U.S. agent, or Yeah, U.S. agent. First, he takes up the mantle of Captain America and then later becomes U.S. agent. And in this comic book here, we have his first appearance. Now, we already know that that John Walker is going to be making an appearance in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is actually confirmed. So this book does hold significance. It will probably take a go up a little bit as far as a spec book is concerned once we get into the swing with the show. And similarly, related to this book, I'm going to point out to Captain America 354, which this is the first appearance of the U.S. agent. So within context of the storyline, John Walker takes over the Captain America mantle, and then later he takes up the U.S. agent mantle. And these are the two books that those particular stories take place, 323 and 354. And it looks like in Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're going to have that storyline take place. So definitely something that I would keep my eye on for those books before we get any more information with the show and before the show comes out. All right, moving on now to the other Disney Plus show that we're going to be getting early in the year, which is going to be Loki. And Loki is an interesting one because there's still a lot of mystery surrounding this one. Hard to say where the show's going to go. There's a lot of time travel stuff going on. So I picked out two books that I think are interesting. And the first one here is going to be Fantastic Four 353. And this is the first appearance of, I believe I'm saying this right, but it's Mobius M. Mobius. And as you can see here, he's actually on the cover. He is inside where traditionally either the newsstand print would go or where the Spider-Man logo would go. And that is him on the cover. And it has been confirmed that this is actually the character that Owen Wilson is playing in the Loki show. So if this is a book that you want to get your hands on, I definitely say, you should give it a look. I think that this is one that you can find in dollar bins. So I would definitely advise don't buy this off eBay because you're going to be paying more of a premium there. I would check the LCS, check the dollar bins, check the back issues, and see if you can get this one at a good deal. It is confirmed that Owen Wilson is going to be playing this character, and could be a good one, especially if Owen Wilson becomes an important character to the MCU, not only for Loki but for later series and movies down the line. All right. Similarly, the organization that Owen Wilson works for is the Time Variance Authority, and this is THOR 372, which happens to be the first appearance of that organization that we saw in the trailer. So this is a cool book to spec on. Again, I would advise not to buy this on eBay. Definitely, if you can, find it at your LCS. I found a couple of these in dollar bins, so they are out there. And if you want to get your hands on it, try to do some digging and see if you can find anything. Because TVA is a pretty cool thing. We know that TVA is going to play a role in the Loki show, and how much of an extent we don't know. But if you want to get their first appearance, this is one to pick up. All right, moving on now to our first movie that we're talking about, which is going to be Black Widow. Very, very excited about this. This is probably going to be coming out in May or June, sometime in the summer. And there's a couple books that I pulled out that I wanted to talk about. First of course, is going to be Tales of Suspense 52, first appearance of Black Widow. So if you're a Black Widow fan and you want to get your hands on her first appearance, this is the book to go after. We know that she's going to get a movie. It's going to be hard to say, if she's going to continue on in the MCU. We don't know if it's going to be sort of a one and done thing, or if maybe they're going to figure out a way for her to come back to life and continue on in the MCU. But this is the book. This is her first appearance. Now, it is a classic Silver Age book, so it is hard to come by. It's not a cheap book by any means. You can see here in the nines, we're talking in the 5-digit, maybe even the 6-digit range. If you have 6-digit range, if you have a 9.6. So finding this raw is definitely going to put you back a little bit. But if you want to get this book, definitely get it before Black Widow, because I promise you that once the movie is out, this book will take another jump up as far as its value is concerned. All right, moving on now to another Black Widow book, and that's going to be Avengers 43. And this is the first appearance of the Red Guardian. Now, it is confirmed that David Harbour is going to be playing the Red Guardian. And, we've seen him in the trailer. This is the book that this character makes his first appearance on. And if you want to get this, now's the time to do it. Now, that being said, I think that David Harbour is probably going to be a one and done character. I mean, it just seems obvious to me that Taskmaster is going to kill David Harbour in this, and that's going to be the thing that sets off Black Widow. So as far as a spec book that lasts into the the MCU for years to come, I'm not sure that this one's always going to remain at the top. But if you want to pick it up, definitely something to go after if you're a fan of that character. All right. Lastly, this is the kind of definitely more spec in terms of we have nothing to confirm that this is going to happen. But as far as the Black Widow is concerned, I think it's possible that we might see Omega Red. Now, this book right here is X-Men #4, came out in the 90s with the Jim Lee run of X-Men, and this is the first appearance of Omega Red. Great character, and there's been a lot of rumors and speculation that he's going to be seen in the MCU, and we might see him as early as the Black Widow movie. So I would definitely go after this book before that movie comes out. Now, granted, this is a pretty, it's not a very well-kept secret, meaning people have already been specking on this book. This book has already jumped up in terms of the numbers. But once we get the official confirmation that we do have an Omega Red, this book will double, I promise you. So if you are an Omega Red fan and you want to get your hands on this book, now's the time to do it. All right, moving on now to our next movie coming out this year is Shang-Chi. Now, this movie is going to be an awesome sort of a Bruce Lee homage. I think we're going to see a lot of a tournament with hand-to-hand combat. And as far as Shang-Chi, the character himself, I'm only going to point out one book, which is going to be Special Marvel Edition number 15. This is the first appearance of the character of Shang-Chi. And if you want to get your hands on this book before the trailer comes out, definitely now is the time to do it because, what ends up always happening, I keep mentioning the trailers, but once the trailers come out, that's when people get really, really excited about these properties. And that's when they take a big jump up in terms of what the going rate is. So this book right here isn't necessarily cheap. I mean, you're definitely at the very low end. If you're looking for a raw, you're going to spend at least $100, maybe $200 for low end books. Go Collect has it here, 9.6s and 9.4s. It's hitting that 4-figure mark, $1,200, $1,800. But once that trailer comes out, definitely it's gonna jump up again. So if you want to get your hands on it, if you like this character, Special Marvel Edition number 15. All right, moving on to the next movie coming out this year, and that's going to be The Eternals. Now, I want to point out quickly 3 books that I think are interesting to talk about, and that's going to be Eternals #1, Eternals #2, and Eternals #3. Eternals #1 here is obviously the first appearance of the Eternals themselves. This is the book that is definitely the most expensive, definitely the one that people have spec'd on the hardest. It also is the first appearance of Icarus. Icarus is going to be played by the guy's name I forget his name, but he has confirmed that he is going to be played by a guy who was in Game of Thrones. So Icarus will 100% be in the Eternals, and this is going to be an important book for that reason. Similarly, Eternals #2, what's cool about this book is this is going to be the first appearance of the Celestials. Now, we don't know for a fact that the Celestials are going to appear in the MCU, but we did see them as a cameo in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and the Eternals have a strong connection to the Celestials. So I think that we will 100% see the Celestials as part of the plot within context to the Eternals, and this is the first time that we see them. And what I like about this book too is that I think the Celestials are going to be a big threat in the MCU for many, many movies to come. So I think that this book has legs with regards to, the Celestials having relevance in pop culture. So definitely something that I would, if I'm a fan of the Eternals and I'm a believer in the Celestials and you want to spec on this, definitely something worth picking up. And then lastly, I've talked about this in other videos. This is Eternals #3, and this is the first appearance of Cersei. Gemma Chan, the actress, is going to be playing Cersei. And I'm a big believer that Cersei is going to be the breakout star within context of the Eternals group, similar to how Rocket Raccoon is kind of the breakout star of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I like Cersei as a character. I think Gemma Chan's going to do a great job with her, and this is her first appearance. So this is a book that I would also spec on, and this is the cheapest of the group, so you can find good deals if you want. All right, moving on now to the last movie that's coming out in 2021, and that's going to be Spider-Man #3. Now, this one is bonkers. There's a lot of crazy rumors going on with this one, but I just wanted to point out a few of the books that are sort of what it seems like we're getting. And it seems like, to some degree, we are getting a version of the Sinister Six. So this is going to be Amazing Spider-Man annual #1. This is the first appearance of the team, the Sinister Six. Seems like we're going to be getting them in Spider-Man 3. So, definitely before those trailers come out, if you guys like this book and you want to spec on it, or if you're a collector and you've just always wanted to have this book, now is the time to get it, because once the cat's out of the bag with it, it's going to definitely take a jump. Only problem with this one for you collectors out there is because it is a Silver Age Spider-Man, it does have quite a hefty price tag that comes along with it, as you can see from the CGC numbers. And yeah, but if you want to get your hands on it, definitely, this is the time to do it, because it'll take another jump. Similarly, all the first appearances of the characters in the Sinister Six: Spider-Man #2, first appearance of Vulture. We have Spider-Man #3, first appearance of Dr. Octopus. Spider-Man #4, first appearance of Sandman. Spider-Man #9, first appearance of Electro. Spider-Man 13, first appearance of Mysterio. And lastly, Spider-Man 15, first appearance of Kraven. All of these books are going to take a jump if we do get Sinister Six in the MCU. And, the only problem is they're already expensive. So it's going to be tough to get them on spec if you're not already a fan of these Spider-Man characters. But if you are a fan of the Spider-Man characters, I would definitely say that this is the time to jump on this before they get too hot or priced out of your budget. All right, and the last two things I wanted to talk about here is Hawkeye, which is going to be a Disney Plus show later in the year. And just one book that I want to point out here, which is going to be, here you see Haley Steinfeld is going to be confirmed, or she is confirmed as playing Kate Bishop. And Kate Bishop's first appearance is in Young Avengers #1, a book that came out in 2014, I believe. And this book has definitely been heating up, but you can find raw copies on eBay for reasonable prices. And if you're a fan of, the Kate Bishop character or any of the Young Avengers who we might eventually see in the MCU, this is the book that you want to pick up before, we start to see more information on it. Okay, and then the last book here is going to be for the show Miss Marvel, which comes out at the end of the year and features the Kamala Khan rendition of Miss Marvel, and her first appearance takes place in Marvel Now .1 #1. And this is another book kind of like the Young Avengers one, where there are reasonable prices you can find it at. But people have been specking on it, as you can see, a 9.8 CGC, 25 sales, $750. So definitely heating up. But again, as I've been kind of iterating throughout the entire video, these books are going to get that much more hot as soon as we start to get the trailers. So this is something that if you're a fan of these characters, if you want to get these books, these are the ones to get in 2021 before it's too late. All right, so that is all I have for this video. It's going to be a great year, 2021, exciting year for the MCU, and those are the books that I think are the ones to spec on before it's too late, before we start to get these trailers. Anyways, let me know what books you guys are going to be specking on. If you're going to buy any of these ones, do you have any of them already? Drop me a like, leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking, and I hope you guys have a great new year.